Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today and welcome to this educational presentation where today I want to talk to you about a strategy that I've literally been trading for over 46 years. This was the very first strategy that my mentors taught me, and it is so consistent as well as being so simple that I continue to use it to this day. So I'm going to do something a little bit different. Usually I start out by explaining a little bit about it, giving the highlights, and then I share with you a few rules. I'm going to jump right into it. Okay, we're going to just talk about exactly what this is. So welcome. My name is Stephen Primo. I'm the president and founder of Specialist Trading. And as I said, when I first started trading some 46 years ago, I struggled tremendously with my own trading. And so my mentors taught me this strategy, which is a pattern recognition strategy, only has roughly about 4 rules. And I'm going to actually share with you examples that happened within the last month. In fact, towards the end of this presentation, you'll see examples that happened within the last couple of days. Okay, so let's jump right into it. And we're going to be talking about strategy number 4. Now, I'm going to give you 2 of the rules right off the bat. If we get a buy signal, the price has to close above the 50-period moving average, and the price bar has to close in the top 25% of its range. Okay, those are half the rules right off the bat. If I get a sell signal, the price has to close in the bottom, or I should say, below the 50-period moving average, and then in the bottom 25% of its range. So all the examples you'll see today will exhibit and display those 2 rules. So you already have half of the rules to this extremely consistent method. And we're required to share this with you. So before I show you some examples, remember, please take a moment to view our disclaimer. I'm going to show you a lot of performance results right now, but please remember that we can in no way guarantee that any of the results I'm about to share with you will be repeated in the future. And also, since we are an educational company, all examples are strictly for educational purposes only. All right, so let's begin. Let's start off and sharing you some recent strategy number 4 examples, okay? Let's look at this one in Airbnb. Now, one of the beautiful things about strategy 4 is it's designed to catch and identify momentum. But the beautiful thing is it will identify momentum oftentimes when it looks as if there's no momentum at all. So this way you're getting a head start or a jump on where everyone else is jumping into the pool. So for example, let's look at the sideways market we have here in Airbnb, all right? No one would want to trade this because it looks like it's just going nowhere. But once we apply strategy 4, within that sideways market, there's a buy signal that was generated coming into last month, and 25 points towards the end, just a couple of weeks ago. Here's another example, NXPI, all right? Now, once again, someone would just looking off this example would say, well, the trend is down, so therefore I want to be a seller, right? Well, here's the beautiful thing about strategy 4. Once again, it is just sharing with you how it picks up signs of momentum that may be coming in before anyone sees it. So as we look here, we see that a buy signal was generated, and 30 points in the next 3 weeks, well before anyone else spotted that sign of momentum coming in. Let's look at ANSS. Obviously, it's been going lower, but once again, a buy signal was generated right at that very low. This was just about 3 weeks ago, 28 points in the next couple of weeks. Now, do you see why I continue to trade this strategy after 46 years? This is how consistent it is. Let's look at TMUS, okay, T-Mobile. Most traders would look at this and say, Steve, there's major support here. That guy in that trading room says this is where it's going to hold, so I want to be a buyer, most likely. Well, even though it looks as if there's support there, strategy 4 was telling us that there's momentum to the downside. It's building up to the downside, and you should actually be looking at this from a seller's point of view. And look what happened in the following weeks, down 17 points. So what happened to the so-called support? Another example in CTAS, okay? One could say that, well, it's going up and then going down, so I think we're headed lower, but not really much to tell here. We're kind of having this V top, so I don't really want to do anything. Well, a buy signal was generated right at the low of that little sell-off, 30 points coming into this month. Let's look at ODFL. Here was a great signal that was generated just a few weeks ago on the 24th of July. 40 points in just 3 days, okay? This is how powerful this method can be. Now, remember, I always tell my students, you don't have to purchase a stock. We realize this is an expensive $300, $400 stock, but you can purchase options. Our job as a mentor is simply to point out and teach you how to identify these high probability setups. Once you know what to look for, You don't have to buy the stock if you don't like to. You can apply it to currency pairs. You can apply it to futures. You can apply it to Bitcoin. It doesn't matter. You can apply it to commodities. It really makes no difference what markets you're trading. All right, let's look at ILMN. All right. Once again, we have a so-called range market here, not doing much, but we had just an abundance of sell signals being generated. So even though it looks as if the market is just in a range, what the market is really telling us is, yes, we may be in a range for now, but it looks as if we're really going to be selling off. And then 25 points coming into mid-July. And if you miss those initial sell signals, well, guess what? Another one was generated right here. All right, we're in a downtrend in S&PS, right? Well, even though it may appear that we're in a downtrend, look at the two buy signals that were generated right at the lows of that downtrend, and 40 points coming into mid-July, just about 3 weeks ago. As I said, now you see why I continue to trade this on a daily basis. Here's an example on Intuit, all right? Once again, a sideways market. We're always taught to stay away from these because the minute you buy, what happens? It goes lower. So you sell it, goes right back up. You buy it again, goes right back down, right? So you don't want to trade sideways markets, or do you? Because strategy 4 says, even though it's a sideways market, there were two buy signals generated right here at the beginning of July. And look at the 45 points you could have taken advantage of. Okay. Now the 45 points happened right after those buy signals were generated. So it had already had identified the momentum coming in. All right, we have two buy signals generated here in IDXX. Looks like nothing's happening, right? Kind of just going sideways. 70 points eventually kicked in. This was in mid to the end of July. Oh, let's look at FANG here, okay? Now, this is what we mean by having a very consistent method. I've said before that strategy 4 is our most consistent method, and that's because it's able to recoup losses. Now, a sell signal was generated right here, all right? Now, for one day, you have a nice profit. You're feeling good about it. You say, okay, I'm going to stay short because this is working very well. And then look what happens. A buy signal is generated. So once you get a little bit of experience under your belt and you've understood how to actually trade strategy 4, we want our traders to reverse the method. This is called a switch and reverse because what the method is telling you is that, well, I changed my mind. It looks like the momentum has shifted. And we always just want to do what the market's doing. We're not trying to predict what the market's going to do. So had you sold here and then reversed and covered your short and then gone long, you would have lost basically about 4 points. That's not a lot, but still, depending on how many shares or options you purchased. But don't you think that would have been a wise decision? Because now that you're long, you could have potentially made 12 points. And it could have made back that 4 points you lost, plus another 8 points if you potentially held on. So this is what we mean by consistent. Even though we're aware that we may have losses from time to time, the ability to recoup those losses often in the very next setup. All right. As we look here in a totally different market, here's the Swiss franc. All right. A lot of Swiss franc, or I should say forex traders, like to look at what the institutions are doing. They tell them everything, right? Well, I would never recommend going off what the institutions are doing because, once again, I used to trade with the institutions and they didn't have a very good track record when I traded with them on the floor of the exchange. Now, right here, one could be saying, well, the institutions are buying, Steve, so I don't want to really be selling. Well, what's strategy 4 saying? Well, strategy 4 is actually generating a sell signal right in the middle of that sideways market. And then look what happened. What happened to the institutions buying there or holding up the price? They obviously changed their mind and they pulled out. So the market fell in the Swiss franc and you could have potentially captured 370 pips. That's over $3,500 per unit potentially you could have captured. Let's look at a 4-hour chart of gold. Now, looking back in hindsight, how could we have taken advantage of this, right? You would have loved to know where and when to buy, but it's easy to say now, but how could we have done it in mid to end of July? Well, apply strategy number 4 and look at all the buy signals at the lows of these sell-offs here, okay? Let's look at another currency pair. Here's a daily chart of the British pound. British pound was headed lower, but at the very bottom of that sell-off, a buy signal was generated. This is strategy 4 telling us that even though we've been selling off, momentum has come back into this to the buy side. And if you're thinking about selling, you should change your mind because the bias now is to the upside because there's more momentum coming in. And look what happened. Over 400 pips in the next couple of weeks. That's over $4,000 per unit. Once again, you could have potentially made. And we can look at a 1 hour chart of Moderna. This is for all you day traders, okay? It was going straight up, but it looked like a little reversal here. So a sell signal is generated on a 1 hour chart, 5 points in the next couple of days, just looking at a 1 hour chart. So you see, it makes no difference what time frame, what direction, and what market. Strategy 4 can be applied to any market, any time frame. This is why I continue to trade it with all the markets I trade. All right, let's look at a weekly chart now. We know we have a lot of traders who are actually, swing traders. So if you're a swing trader, all right, let's check it out here. Oh, first of all, someone is saying they can't see my screen. I'm sorry if you can't. We had some technical issues earlier. Are you able to see the screen? If not, it could be your internet connection. Oftentimes you log off and log back on. But if you're able to see the screen, just go to the chat box or the question and answer box, type in yes or no, okay? Because I'd like you all to see this. We got some great examples here. And if it's just one of you, most likely it's just your internet connection, okay? See here, most people are saying yes. It should be okay. So if everyone can see the screen and hear me clearly, I guess everything is fine. All right, so we'll continue. Let's look at this. Okay, once again, let's look at KLIC in a weekly time frame. We're just basically going sideways. Looks like there's no momentum, right? But we're full of buy signals. Look at all of these buy signals generated. 100 points in just 3 months, okay? So you see how it was picking up all this momentum when no one else could actually identify it. That's the beauty of strategy number 4. Okay, so let's recap. Let's go over what we just taught you, then I'll go into in detail a little bit more about strategy 4. Talk about some of the highlights, okay? It's a pattern recognition strategy. By pattern recognition, we're saying that it's not based on any indicators, it's based on a pattern that repeats itself over and over and over again in any market and in any time frame. It's designed for traders looking to catch momentum. And you saw that in all these examples, because remember, momentum is the key. And we're trying to catch this momentum before anyone else sees that momentum has come back into the stock. And then lastly, you can apply this to any market and to any time frame. I trade it with E-mini futures on small time frames, so it makes no difference. Now, the advantages of trading strategy number 4 are these. It's extremely consistent. Remember, consistency means that we're aware that we will have losses, but even though we have losses, we want to be able to recoup those losses. That's what a consistent method does. It also makes you a part of the process. We give you different variables for entry, different variables for exits, different variables for stop placement so that you can be a part of the process. This is not a system where everyone has to trade the same way. So if you like to take a lot of risk, we share with you ways in which to have a deeper and wider stop. If you're someone who doesn't like to take a lot of risk or doesn't have a large account, we share with you ways to have a tight, very low minimum risk stop, okay? And lastly, designed to be as simple as possible. Basically only 4 rules, you've already got half of them already. Okay, that's how simple strategy 4 is. Now, everything you just saw was displayed coming on the PTS Primo Charting Platform. This is the educational platform that actually teaches you how to trade. So ask yourself, do you think this strategy can help your trading for the remainder of 2023? All right, we have a great offer for you today. For all of you who are really interested in trading the same strategy that I trade, we're offering you our most consistent strategy, strategy number 4. You're going to get detailed instruction, instant course access. You'll get all the entries, all the exits, all the stop placement, all the automatic buy and sell arrows, the complete course rules on a PDF. Remember, you can apply this to any market and any time frame. But everything you just saw now was coming from our platform. So here's the extra bonus we're throwing in. We're going to include a full year of the PTS Primo Charting Platform. So that way it can automatically share with you where these signals are. All right. You're going to get strategy number 4 The enhanced buy sell line feature, that's what tells you the overall trend. A strength of trend tool telling you if a trend is still strong or running out of steam. A signal scanner, over 90 of the most prominent technical indicators, and this all comes with personalized tech support. But here's the best thing. Auto-generated exit levels. With one click of your mouse, you'll be able to see where these auto-generated exit levels are. For example, here was a buy signal in Microsoft, okay? This was just a few weeks ago. Now, if you wanted to know where you maybe want to be selling, if you're not really sure, one of our techniques is with these auto-generated signals. You would just double click on the arrow on the platform, and you'll see these 4 levels appear. All right, if you're the type of trader that likes to get in and out quickly, you would use exit levels 1 and 2. You would place limit orders to sell your position. If you're the type of trader that likes to hold on for a little bit longer, you'd use exit level 3. And finally, you'd use exit level number 4 to exit the position entirely. So let's say your research says you think it's going to come up here. Well, you'd place a limit right here, and look what happened. In roughly a week, you could have potentially captured 25 points. Works to the downside as well. Here's a sell signal in the euro yen, a 4-hour euro yen chart. Double click on the arrow, and you'll see the range extension option. All right. Once again, if you want to get out quickly, you use these first 2 exits, a little bit longer, the 3rd, but eventually we want you exiting the entire position at the 4th level. So let's say you placed a limit to exit your short trade, 200 pips right there, in roughly 1 day or so. That's roughly around $2,000 that you potentially could have made. Here's an example in Algin, ALGN. All right, buy signal was generated. You could have exited at the 4th and final exit level for a 33-point gain in just roughly about 4 days. And then look what happened after that. Price went out again. So you got out towards the top, but another buy signal was generated. And look what happened. It gapped up tremendously. So if you used any of these exit levels, they've all would have been bypassed because you would have been able to exit on the opening, okay? And captured 15 points. So for 2 trades using the exit levels, you could have made over 80 points just using this simple tool, which once again is available. There's one more tool that is available that I didn't talk about on our platform. This is our confirmation tool. Now, there were 2 there were 2 signals here, 1 buy and 1 sell. All right. Now, is this where you stop and reverse? Okay, we were long. Should we automatically exit and go short now? Well, this confirmation tool tells us whether we should have been selling on the second trade, whether we should get out of the first one. And guess what? It wasn't confirmed. So we would have stayed long the initial position and been able to capture potentially 18 points. This is another great option that's offered only on the platform. So once again, this is the very first strategy I ever learned some 46 years ago. You're going to get all this information. You'll be able to apply it to any market and any time frame. So let's break it down. You're going to get the complete course rules manual on a PDF. That's roughly a $700 version, or a value, I should say. You're also going to get a full year real-time PTS Primo charts. That's close to $1,200. And remember, that includes the scanner plus those auto-generated exit levels I talked about. Now, if you purchase these both separately without our deal and special today, it costs you close to $1,900. We're going to discount that today and only charge you $695. That's an over 60% discount. You save close to $1,200. This is a great offer, a great way to get acquainted with us and also to trade, once again, the same strategy that I trade on a daily basis. Now, if you're still not convinced yet, take a look at what happened just about 3 weeks ago. Here was a buy signal in ATVI, all right? Doesn't look as if there's any momentum to the buy side happening at all. In fact, it looks like it's starting to head lower. But at the very bottom of that small sell-off, a buy signal was generated. 10 points in 3 days you could have captured, okay? Now, we all know that the market's really falling today. What would have happened if you're an intraday trader trading the QQQs? Well, let's look what happened yesterday. This is a 15-minute chart of the QQQs, and this was yesterday, August 1st, okay? Once again, doesn't look like anything was happening the last 3 or 4 hours of the day yesterday. You could have said we were in a range market. Nothing was happening. But on our platform, this is how simple it is to apply this process. Click on strategy number 4. In the drop-down menu, click on signal arrows, and it will automatically generate where these setups are. Now, there were 2 setups to go short. Had you stayed short, I took this snapshot roughly about a couple of hours ago. You could have potentially captured 8 points in one day or 300 NASDAQ points. This was yesterday. This is how consistent this method is and how you can apply it to any market, any time frame. So this just happened one day ago. Take charge of your trading for the very first time. Come on board with a method I use and I've been trading strategy for over 46 years. Here's how to take advantage of this. Contact Pro Trader Strategies. I would highly recommend giving them a call at area code 310-598-6677. They have trading consultants manning the phones right now. Now you see this link at the very bottom right here. This link will take you to the info and the sign up page, but it was just posted on the chat box. So it's not a live link, but you can go to the chat box, click it on, and it will take you to the sign up page. Now, I apologize. I know we had some technical issues today. I realize that not everyone could see the screen. I hope you could all see and hear me clearly. If you couldn't, don't worry, you'll get a link to this recording. You'll be able to watch it at your own leisure, okay? I see we have one question concerning educational correspondence. If we go back here, just let me backtrack. That has to do with this. Let me just backtrack here. Here we go. Educational correspondence. Sorry to backtrack that much, but educational correspondence simply means that you can contact me anytime you'd like via email. Everyone will get my private email address. It won't go to anyone else. It won't go to an intern. It won't go to a consultant, trading consultant. It goes right to me. So I will answer your question whenever you like. Okay. So that's how you get educational correspondence. It's the next best thing to having me sit right next to you. And you can contact me whenever you'd like, before the opening, after the close, on the weekend, it makes no difference, okay? Now, if you bear with me, I'll go fast forward here one more time. And we're back at that page again, okay? So once again, I'm sorry that we had some technical issues. I hope you were able to see this and hear me clearly. If you weren't, don't worry, you'll all be issued a link to this email, okay? Or I should say an email link to this presentation. Now, as we close and take one last look at our disclaimer, thank you so much for attending today. Strategy 4, once again, is a method I've been trading for 46 years. I hope you join me and start to trade it if you haven't done so already, and come on board with me. We're trading my favorite strategy. Thank you so much for attending. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.